that yesterday.
Shit!
What?
Oh, shit.
Everybody's got it.
Y'all heard the girl.
I mean, come on now.
They just jealous because they didn't have. They just jealous because they didn't have no toothbrush growing up.
We were
About to call this place
And say what?
and say, somebody's there.
What?
There's someone there. That's
told everybody.
What are you
They're calling on me.
It's rude.
I hate people.
Free.
What are you drinking?
Gypsy,
Yeah.
listen. Boston's trying to tell you something.
Okay, I'm listening.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard is no longer on parole, and her first days of freedom have taken a sharp turn into full-blown spectacle. Instead of slipping quietly back into civilian life or taking the chance to rebuild her image with grace, she's jumped straight into the spotlight with a kind of reckless enthusiasm that has left both fans and critics stunned. The very day her parole officially ended, many assumed she'd take time to reflect, maybe spend a peaceful evening with loved ones away from the judgment of the public eye. But that idea couldn't have been further from reality. Gypsy did the opposite. Within hours of her newfound freedom, she was already out on the town, and not just celebrating quietly. She chose to make it public. Very public. Her weapon of choice. TikTok Live. She went live from a bar surrounded by friends, a group mostly in their late 20s and 30s, drinking and laughing as if nothing in the world could touch her, except it wasn't joyful or celebratory in any wholesome way. It quickly became clear that this was less about freedom and more about performance, a need to prove something to the world. What followed was, frankly, a train wreck. Visibly drunk and increasingly incoherent, Gypsy slurred her words, bounced from topic to topic without making much sense, and at times seemed unaware of where she even was. Her eyes glazed over, her movements slow and clumsy. She leaned awkwardly in her chair, giggling at her own unfinished sentences, playing to the camera like it was an audience she desperately needed to win back. But it was anything but charming. It felt unhinged. And then came the wardrobe disaster. Gypsy had chosen to wear a loose-fitting blouse, something low-cut, light, and far from secure. As the night wore on and the alcohol took its toll, she began shifting in her seat, leaning forward, moving her arms unpredictably. The blouse, already precariously placed, started slipping down more and more.
Guys, that last shot done me in.
Yeah. She's acting like me when I'm on edibles.
Jesus Christ.
Modesty passion.
I know. Jeez. Y'all didn't tell me they told you to.
Oh God.
Okay, so we're getting. Should we do a BJ shot?
Yes.
Already
Yes.
done.
Do it.
No,
Do it. You can do it, Gypsy. You have plenty of practice.
Come on, girl. You can do it.
Did you hear me?
You can't tell me you haven't done this shit with no your hands before.
I was gonna
Come
say
on
you
now.
can do it. You have plenty of practice, Gypsy.
Exactly. Don't pretend. Don't pretend. Don't pretend you can't do it with no hands. Come on, girl. Come on,
I mean,
girl.
you could ask Ken, even though he's asleep.
2 BJs.
Do it.
Ken's gonna be like, oh my god.
I can't fucking wait. This is hilarious.
She said, how about 2 hands? Oh my god. It's so funny.
Like she did it. Look at the fuck she did.
Within minutes, viewers watching live began to notice and panic. The chat filled up rapidly with urgent messages. Fix your shirt. Girl, you're about to flash everyone. Gypsy, you're top. This wasn't one or two concerned fans. Hundreds flooded the chat with near-identical warnings, trying to protect her from herself in real time. At several points, it looked like she was seconds away from exposing herself on a public live stream. And yet, she didn't stop. She'd laugh it off when it was mentioned, adjust slightly, and then go right back to acting as if nothing was wrong. The level of detachment was uncomfortable to watch. But what made it worse was how unnecessary all of it was. This wasn't a surprise live stream someone caught in passing, she had chosen this. She was the one holding the camera, turning it on, reading the comments. She knew people were watching. And still, she kept going. And that wasn't even the beginning of the chaos. Earlier that same day, before the live stream had even started, Gypsy had already stirred up fresh outrage in her hometown. Alongside her best friend Bree, she was seen walking through local neighborhoods, phones out, actively recording themselves as they went on what they seemed to consider a mission. Their goal? Tearing down posters that had been taped up by angry locals, signs that bluntly read things like "Send her back to jail" and "We don't want you here."
Not Gypsy Rose, all embarrassed now after she watched her own live, and of course she had to put it on her story that she's embarrassed and can't believe she did that. Let me guess, your friends made you drink too much. It's not your fault. It was your first time ever drinking. Although you handled it like a pro. Just saying. Your daughter is gonna see this eventually. And I can't wait. So she'll know that her mom had her girls hanging out to the point that it came out basically, and that she was making, I'm sorry, there was multiple, because we know you always have to have a triangle and there always has to be 3 altogether, you and 2 more. Surprise, surprise. You're a thought. You're not even a thoughtful thought. You're just a thought. Great role model, great parenting. You're showing your daughter how to really be a lady. You're so respectful of yourself. You should be so proud. Your dad should be super proud, especially making the gestures over and over again. Oh yeah, I bet you he's so proud of you.
Rather than stopping to consider why the town had such strong feelings, or reflecting on how her presence might still hurt and unsettle many who remember her case, Gypsy treated it like a joke. She and Bree giggled as they pulled posters off light poles, store windows, bulletin boards. At one point, they cheered like they were collecting trophies. Their tone wasn't defensive, it was celebratory. Like they thought they were winning something. Bree was clearly hyping her up.
A matter of minutes, we pulled it off, and they couldn't even if they tried.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Oh man.
I think we're pulling it off just fine.
Another one down, she said in one video. Gypsy, grinning like she was 15 again, waved a ripped poster in the air and twirled for the camera. The whole scene was surreal. They weren't just ignoring the outrage, they were mocking it. And the most unsettling part was how unaware they seemed of the weight of what they were doing. These signs were put up by real people, many of whom had lived through the media storm of Gypsy's trial and felt deeply affected by the case. But to Gypsy, it seemed like just another content opportunity. Later that night, as the TikTok live continued, Gypsy sat surrounded by several women, most of whom were well into adulthood, yet the vibe was like a group of teenagers sneaking out to party for the first time. They giggled, shrieked, and took turns performing for the stream. No one tried to intervene. No one stopped the live stream when it was clear Gypsy was in no condition to be broadcasting. Instead, they all fed into it.
Cheers!
They tried to ruin this weekend for Gypsy, but they couldn't.
I have an announcement to make. Gypsy, I have liver disease.
Oh,
I know you're my bestie and you didn't know that.
I know that.
She did know that,
You
Nicole.
probably didn't know it either.
I did, but I'll pretend like I didn't. Y'all be having so much fun. We ripped them bitches down. We ripped them bitches down. Y'all. She was putting one up. We'll take one down. Put one up, take it down.
I offered $100 for anybody that can guess our location, and it's not in the French Quarter. The haters will believe anything, suckers.
Wrong place.
Don't fuck with the local.
Yeah. That for y'all either.
If I bunny hopped, I'd be in the hospital.
We get
What, cha-cha slide? Do you know it's cha-cha? Okay, you know cha-cha slide at least? That yesterday. What? Oh, shit.
Everybody's done it.
Y'all heard the girl.
I mean, come on now.
They just jealous because they didn't have. They just jealous because they didn't have no toothbrush growing up. We're about to call this police.
And say what?
And say somebody's there. There's someone there. That's.
Told everybody. They're calling on me.
It's rude.
I hate people.
Freak.
What are you drinking?
Gypsy,
Yeah.
listen. Austin's trying to tell you something.
Okay, I'm listening.
The entire night, from the poster-tearing antics to the drunken live stream, felt like one long spiral, not the kind that ends with a light hangover, but the kind that raises red flags. This wasn't someone celebrating a hard-earned second chance. It was someone clinging to internet relevance, mistaking public attention for personal value. For someone who once spoke so movingly about regret, survival, and transformation, this display painted a completely different picture. Gypsy didn't look like someone trying to heal, she looked like someone stuck in a loop of needing to be seen, no matter the cost. It started off looking like a girls' night out, a bit rowdy, sure, but harmless on the surface. A group of women, mostly in their 30s, laughing, drinking, playing around with filters on TikTok Live. But as the minutes passed, what unfolded wasn't just another social stream, it became something much harder to watch. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, recently freed from parole, was front and center, not just celebrating, but performing. And the mood in that room? Completely detached from the gravity of what they were actually toasting into. They treated it like a coming-of-age moment, like she just turned 21, not like someone who had spent the last several years under the legal system's supervision for her role in a chilling and tragic crime. The energy was almost surreal. Every time Gypsy raised a glass, her friends as adult women, many of them mothers and professionals, broke into cheers. People in the live chat tossed out drink suggestions like they were at a frat party. And with each new shot, the celebration intensified. But the big, uncomfortable question hung in the air. What exactly were they celebrating? A parole sentence ending? A murder sentence completed? As the alcohol kicked in, Gypsy's tone shifted, and so did her voice. That high-pitched, erratic, almost cartoonish tone she's used in tense moments in the past began to creep back in. It was jarring, especially for those who had followed her story closely. And the further the night went, the more exaggerated her behavior became. She and her friend Bree started playing with clumsy green screen effects, giggling uncontrollably over random jokes that didn't land, doing impromptu skits that made no sense. At one point, they pretended to be newscasters reporting fake stories about themselves. No one intervened. What's worse, no one even tried. There was no friend in that room saying, "Hey, maybe it's time to log off." No one telling her to pull it together, or to think about how this looked to the thousands watching. It wasn't just a bad look for Gypsy, it was a full group spiral, and they all dove right in. And then the wardrobe malfunction happened. Gypsy's top, loose, low-cut, and clearly not live stream ready, kept slipping down as she moved, leaned forward, or raised her arms. There were moments where it genuinely looked like she was about to expose herself on camera. The live chat practically exploded with concern. "Girl, fix your shirt, please cover up, this is about to go too far." It was viewers, not friends in the room, who were scrambling to keep her from making a bigger mistake. Somewhere in that sea of comments, someone wrote, "If you want to live your 304 era, don't do it on TikTok." Gypsy blinked in confusion, clearly not understanding. For those who missed the reference, 304, typed into a calculator and flipped upside down, is a crude insult. A quiet digital call-out, telling her she was crossing a line, whether she realized it or not. But the spiral didn't stop. Viewers dared her to take a BJ shot, a suggestive barred drink that's traditionally done without using your hands. Even Bree hesitated, realizing the optics. But Gypsy? She didn't think twice. She leaned in, exaggerated the gesture with her hands in a way that was borderline explicit, and played it up for the camera. It was the kind of moment that instantly made people recoil. And then she said it, that infamous claim, "This is my first drink ever." The internet collectively rolled its eyes. Because if there's one pattern Gypsy has repeated time and time again, it's claiming a first that isn't really a first. First beach day. First time swimming. First time riding a swing. All previously disproven by actual photos and video of her doing exactly those things with her mother. When caught, she always pivots. "Well, I meant the first time I actually enjoyed it." It's a convenient escape hatch she uses again and again. This first drink moment felt no different. There are multiple instances where she's clearly been around alcohol before, from concerts to casual get-togethers with friends. There's even a clip from a Post Malone concert where someone hands her a drink on camera. So to hear her say this was her first ever time drinking? For many, it just read as another calculated twist in her ongoing attempt to reshape public perception. And let's not ignore what's even more baffling. Some of these outings, these drinks, these party moments happened while she was still on parole. Technically, being in environments with alcohol or intoxicated individuals could have landed her back behind bars, but somehow, Gypsy slid through. Others in her position would have faced serious consequences, she didn't. So now people are asking, who is the real Gypsy Rose Blanchard? Was the chaotic, messy version we saw on TikTok the unfiltered truth? Or just another performance? Because when she's sober, she speaks with this rehearsed calmness, careful words, softened tone, perfectly timed emotion. It all feels managed, like a brand. The victim. The fighter. The misunderstood girl next door trying to rebuild. But that live stream showed something different, raw, erratic, unscripted. So was that finally her truth? Or just another mask, just one with less polish? Maybe what we saw on that live stream wasn't just Gypsy Rose being careless or drunk, maybe it was something far more deliberate. A performance. Another role in a long line of roles she's played throughout her life. Because let's not forget, Gypsy doesn't just know how to be on camera, she knows how to control the camera. How to shape the story. She's been doing that since she was a child, long before most people even knew her name. She was raised learning how to mimic illness, how to trigger empathy, how to make strangers feel something. First, it was sadness. Then innocence. Then desperation. Now, maybe it's chaos. Maybe this latest version, the rebellious, unfiltered party girl, is just one more mask, one more performance crafted for views, reactions, and attention. And let's be clear, this didn't come off as some spontaneous moment of over-celebration. It felt loud. Deliberate. Strategic. The timing, the live stream, the filters, the shots, the dares, all of it seemed aimed directly at the public eye with one clear message: I'm free, and I'm doing whatever I want. Almost like she was testing us. Daring the internet to judge her. Daring people to try and drag her again. And the wild part. That kind of controversy, even the backlash, fuels her. Whether it's applause or outrage, if she's the center of the conversation, that's a win. And she knows it. Now that she's off parole, Gypsy isn't hiding. She's not trying to lay low or quietly rebuild her life. She's doing the exact thing people feared she would, chasing attention, making reckless choices, behaving like nothing ever happened. The sad part is, this doesn't feel like a fluke. It feels like a pattern. One that's been repeating, in different forms, for years. And that brings us to the question everyone's been asking: was that live stream the real Gypsy finally coming out? Or was it just another scripted moment? Another scene designed to stir up buzz? Because when she's sober, her image is calculated, every word carefully chosen, every appearance curated. But on that live stream, all of it cracked, and for a moment, it looked raw. Maybe even real. Or maybe that's what she wants us to think, because how many times have we heard the first time a story from her? First time swimming. First time at the beach. First time swinging. All proven false. So when she sat there and said, "This is my first drink," most people watching already knew the game. She's not new to bending the truth to fit a more compelling narrative. And what's even more disturbing? Many of these moments, including being around alcohol, reportedly happened while she was still on parole. Situations that would land most parolees in serious trouble. Yet somehow, Gypsy never faced consequences. It's as if the normal rules don't apply. So we're left with this: who is the real Gypsy Rose Blanchard? Is she the victim-turned-survivor trying to find her place in the world, or is she someone who knows exactly how to pull the strings, someone who's addicted to the spotlight and willing to do anything to stay there? Maybe it's both, but whatever the truth is, one thing is clear: this isn't going to quiet down. Not anytime soon. And if this is how she reintroduces herself to the world just days after parole, we're in for a ride. So watch closely, because whatever's coming next, it's probably already being filmed.